Good morning children, Jai Gurudev. Today we are going to do chapter 9 of science. Name of the chapter is Soil. Soil is one of the most important natural resources. It is that part of the earth where plants grow, and it is because of these plants that life is possible on earth. Plants provide us with food, oxygen, clothing, shelter, medicine, and so many other important things. That is why these plants are important, and because these plants grow in the soil becomes one of the most important things. Other than anchoring the plants, soil also gives a living place to many organisms which are equally important in nature for the maintenance of equilibrium of nature. But we humans have been always very ungrateful to nature. We have polluted the soil in various ways, such as by throwing chemicals, dumping wastes like plastics and pollutants, adding insecticides and pesticides to the soil. This all has polluted the soil. Soil needs to be studied, and study of soil means knowing the soil. To know the soil means to learn about its profile. So what is soil profile? Let's do one simple activity to understand the meaning of the term soil profile. Let's take some water in a beaker or a glass or a jar. Add a handful of soil in it and stir it well, and allow this mixture to stand undisturbed for some time. After some time, you will see that the soil is forming various layers in this water. You will see the biggest particles have settled down. The smaller particles have formed layer above the bigger particles. The topmost layer will have some dry and dead leaves or some animal waste floating on water. This is the organic matter present in the soil, and this is called humus. Usually we can see only the top surface of the soil, but when a vertical section of the soil is cut, we can see various layers in the earth. These different layers show the soil profile, and these different layers are called horizons. These layers are of different color and are in different depth, and also they have different components of soil. You can see a soil profile at the construction site where the soil is dug for laying foundation of the building, or you can see it where a well is being dug, or you can also see soil profile if you ever visit a mining site. You can also see this soil profile while you are moving upwards or downwards along a hilly region. So along the roadsides you can see this soil profile. Let's see what these horizons are. The uppermost horizon is generally dark in color as it is rich in humus and minerals. The fertile because it is the organic matter, and it provides nutrients to the growing plants, and it also provides nutrients to the organisms like bacteria which live in soil. This layer is generally soft, porous, and it can hold more water. It is called the topsoil or a horizon. A horizon also provides shelter to many living organisms. Many types of worms and insects live in there. Rodents, rats, snakes, moles, beetles, all these are found in a horizon. The roots of small plants are also embedded entirely in the topsoil. You will find the roots of small plants in the A horizon. The next layer, it has lesser amount of humus. The organic matter is less, but it has more of minerals. And because of this, the B horizon or the next layer is generally harder, and it is also more compact. It is called B horizon or the middle layer. Plants of very big trees may reach up to B horizon. The third layer is the C horizon, which is made up of small lumps of rocks with cracks and crevices. Below this layer is the bedrock, the rock which is unbroken. And bedrock is very hard and very difficult to dig with the help of spade. Now soil, it is made up of rocks, and it is formed by weathering of rocks or breaking of rocks. Weathering of rocks produce small particles of various materials. These include sand and clay. The amount of sand and clay depends on the type of rock which has been broken and from which these particles are formed. The rock is called the parent rock. The rock which breaks to form the soil is called parent rock. Mixture of rock particles and humus is called soil. Now the soil is classified into various types on the basis of the proportion of particles of its components. If the bigger particles are there, then that type of soil is different, and if the particles are very small, that type of soil is different. So basically there are three types of soil: sandy, clayey and loamy soil. If the soil contains greater proportion of big particles, then it is called sandy soil. The particles mostly are big. If the proportion of fine particles or very small particles is high, then it is called clayey soil. So in clayey soil, the particles are very small in size. If the amount of large particles and small particles, very fine particles, is almost the same, then that soil is called loamy soil. The soil thus is classified as sandy, clayey or loamy. Properties of the soil depends on the size of its particle. Like in sand, the particles are large, so they cannot fit very close to each other, and that is why lot of space is there in between those particles. These spaces are filled with air, and so we can say that sandy soil is well aerated. Lot of air is there in that soil. Water can also drain quickly through the spaces between the sandy soil. So sandy soil tends to be light. It is well aerated and also it is dry because it cannot hold the water. The clay particles are very small in size, and because they are very small, they are closely packed. There is very little space in between, and because less space, there is less air. But because there is less space, there is no place for water to pass through. So clay soil has less air, but it is heavy because it can hold more water. It doesn't allow water to pass through it. But the best topsoil for growing plants is loam or loamy soil. Loamy soil is a mixture of sand and clay. So there are some big particles, there are some very small particles. There is one more type of soil which is found in the riverbeds, that is called silt. The size of silt particles is smaller than sand but bigger than clay. So loamy soil is the best soil because it has big particles, it has small particles, so it allows air also to be there, it allows water also to pass through, and also loamy soil has lots of humus in it. So that is the best soil for growing plants. Let's now see two important properties of soil. The two important properties of soil are water percolation capacity of soil, and the second one is water absorption capacity of soil. Water percolation capacity means how much water can pass through the soil at a given time and how much water is absorbed. See this arrangement to do an activity. Put some sand, clay, silt and loam soil in equal amounts in each of these bottles. Put the upper part of the bottle down or any other vessel to collect the water which flows out of the soil. There should be holes in the cap for the water to drain out. Now put equal amount of water in each of this soil and observe two things. First is how much water comes out of these soils and how much time does it take for the water to come out. If more water comes out, then the percolation rate of the soil is more. Means it allows more water to come out. It also shows that its moisture absorption capacity is less. Like in sand, sand's percolation rate is more and absorption of moisture or water is less. If less water comes out, then percolation rate of the soil is less and moisture absorbing capacity is more, as it is seen in clay. Here, the formula to find the percolation rate of the soil is shown here. Similarly, we can find water absorption capacity also. How to do that? Find the difference between this water that you added and this water which was drained out. Find the difference, subtract the two and find the difference. You will get the volume of water absorbed by the soil, which is equal to the weight of the water absorbed by the soil. You will see that clay has least percolation rate and highest moisture holding capacity or moisture absorption capacity, whereas sandy soil has highest percolation rate and least moisture holding capacity. Now, this property is important for the growth of plants. You know that different types of soil is found in different parts of India, and soil is affected by wind, rainfall, temperature, light, humidity, etc. These factors affect the soil profile and change the soil structure. Types of vegetation depends on the type of soil. All types of vegetation will not grow in any type of soil. You know, cactus and all, they grow in sandy soil. Similarly, clayey and loamy soil is good for wheat and gram because clayey soil is rich in humus and it is very fertile. Similarly, clayey soil is good for paddy also, whereas loamy soil is good for lentils. So different type of vegetation grow in different kind of soil. Soil is very important for plants and for us as well. So we should protect soil from getting eroded. And roots of the soil, they firmly bind the soil and stop soil erosion. So we should try to grow more and more trees and stop cutting off trees and deforestation.